Hello. I messed up the whole thing. Hello and welcome to Flippin Through, the internet's #1 Mad Magazine news, review, and interview channel. And today we're flipping through Mad Magazine number 315, released December 1992. Our price, $1.75, which is indeed cheap. But before we do that, please let me remind you, hit like, hit subscribe, and leave a comment down below. It's the #1 way to support this channel, to keep it growing. I can't do it without your support. And guess what? We just hit 1,000 subscribers, so I'm pretty stoked on that. Thank you. Thank you so much for hitting like and subscribe. It's exciting. The longest journey ever to get to 1,000 subscribers, but I made it. So, I don't know. Feels good, man. If you want to support me in another way, if you think what I do is worth anything more than a like and a subscribe and a comment, patreon.com/flippinthrough. Link is down in the description. These are the people that I get to thank for their support right now. Jacqueline Gosling, Reflection of Perfection, Misamo, Tom Richmond, David Strickler, Megan McInerney, Shane Buckley, Bobby Weigel, Cam Hayden, Rob Wilson, Rod Mead Sperry, Andrew Goldfarb, Casey Ori, and Little Cozy Nostril. Thank you guys so much for the support, and I hope I can keep on earning it. If you're wondering, like, what do you get? You get all, I don't know. I got Alfred E. Neuman's 3D printed stencils. They look pretty awesome. I got buttons and stickers, and I had a limited edition print, which is no longer available. Flip the Bird, but I think I'll make another one a different color, I was thinking, and make it just available if you want one, because they're really fun to make, as it turns out. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get on over here. The whole reason that you are here. Mad Magazine number 315. I totally forgot to show the back cover first. I do like to do that. And here, if Norman Rockwell depicted the 90s, Saturday morning at Doc Fletcher's. And so, yeah, there you know, the pro-choice. I'm not going to weigh in on that. I'll weigh in on a lot of political topics, but not that. And then here, this one is actually my older brother. This is from his collection. And shake before reading. Notice contents may have settled during shipping. Shake. Okay, there, we're good to go now. But here you go. Look at George and Barbara Bush. Barbara Bush has been old my entire life, and I think she's passed away. I think they both have. Who knows? But here's the Alfred E. Neuman for President sticker getting slapped on her ass. Don't be crude. I mean, I'm not crude. That's what... Who did this cover? Mort Drucker. That Mort Drucker did this lewd and lascivious cover. You should be ashamed. I'm going to pull up on Cracked Cover site this issue so I can, you know, look up stuff that doesn't immediately come to mind. Let's get right into this. This is a very interesting issue for a few reasons. One, I don't know, this is weird. Double house ads. Still have the subscription card. That's pretty cool. World's Worst Table of Contents, and here we go. Let's get into this. I didn't realize this about this issue. I've never read this, or if I had read it, I forgot about it. Here's a photograph of William Gaines. Editor's note: as many of you already know, MAD's founder and publisher, William M. Gaines, passed away on June 3rd at the age of 70. Bill's family and the staff of MAD wish to thank everyone who sent us their remembrances, tributes, and condolences. Here are a few of the many kind letters we received. So, William Gaines passed away on June 3rd. This is in December. But anyway, when they put this together, obviously it was much closer to that. One of the things that I really like about this was, you know, they didn't do any sort of like celebrity things. They didn't do there's nothing from the artists in these letters. There's like it's the letters department from the readers. And I think that's really sweet. You know, the letters department is one of my favorite things about Mad Magazine. I like it when people get the joke and play along. I like it when people don't get the joke. I like it when people kiss their ass. I like it when people are just like, this stinks and you stink. And I get the joke, but you know, it stinks. And it's like a big part of the magazine to me is the letters department. And I think it's really sweet that they published all of these different letters, of which, you know, I'm sure that they got thousands of letters from just regular readers. So I don't know. I read through these, you know, they're regular condolence letters. There weren't too many that were all, wait a second. Is this Rod Mead Sperry? This is this has happened before a few times where I'll see a viewer of this channel appear on the pages of Mad Magazine in different ways. Dalton Vaughn, he's a Mad contributor, but he appeared as a kid in Mad Magazine in the letters page. I think Shane Buckley did. Who else? Now it seems Rod Mead Sperry did. Half listening to the evening news, my ears perked up and my heart sank when Tom Brokaw announced the death of Bill Gaines. Although I'm only 22, I've grown up with Mad like a zillion other people. I've grown up with Mad like a zillion other people. When I finally found myself owning every possible issue, I dug back to the early days of EC and saw that everything he presided over was of that quality, good humor, and class that MAD itself stands for. That's gonna because some of that EC stuff was classless, like showing like women with their heads lopped off, dudes like blowing their brains off. That's I don't know if that's intentionally funny, but I find it funny. Um, Very simply, this letter is to extend my sympathy for the loss of a fine and warm man. He will be missed. Rod Sperry from Marblehead, Massachusetts. Boy, I can't tell you how much I hope that this is the same Rod Sperry as I think at the beginning of the videos. How many Sperrys are there? How many Rod Sperrys? How many little Rodney Sperrys are running around? Anyway, let's move on. Lethal Reckon numero 3. It's great. It's Mort Drucker. It's Dick DeBartolo. And it's 90s pop culture. What's more to love than those three things? Look at, he's holding the Super Soaker. Fun fact, the Super Soaker was invented by an African-American gentleman, not by, you know, what's his face? Why can't I remember his name? Oh, well. That's gonna bother me. Here we have the Flexible Fellows Falderall. Here's some good old limbo humor. And it's beautiful. I actually did a limbo competition this morning at work, and I won it because I'm an athlete. I'm a high performance athlete. I wanted to talk about these. The marginals, you may have noticed, are not the normal marginals. There are some of those, Sergio Aragones marginals, but this is little sayings for Neuman for president. Put some sap into the executive branch. Neuman for president. Is there one on this page that I can look at? Here we go. A vote for Neuman is a vote for Neuman. Vote twice. It's all this political stuff, which I guess is, you know, this is coming out in November, probably. Here we have Sure Bets in Sports. Artist Jack Davis. Writer Tom Koch. Jack Davis is so cool. Look at, he does like stuff like this. You know, you have this hockey player coming across in the foreground, and then right, is that background or midground? I don't know. I guess it's midground. You have another guy coming at him. It's a sure bet that I should zoom in. I'm going to zoom in so you guys can really appreciate that when I'm reading this. It's a sure bet that NHL players will only make shots when the TV camera's view is totally blacked out, enabling home viewers to maintain their perfect record of never having seen a hockey goal scored. I got it. Here we go. What should I focus on here? It's a sure bet that TV networks will set aside ample time during sports broadcasts to provide in-depth coverage of hot babes in low-cut blouses, adults carrying sleeping infants, and jerks with a bedsheet sign praising the network. Cleveland love CBS. That's still very true. I watch like the Formula One races, and it's always like a small child, a babe, or I don't know. People don't really do signs, but yeah. Jack Davis is amazing. Wouldn't it be fun to own artwork from people like this? I sure think so. Spy versus Spy, Clark Edwing doing that Spy versus Spy work. Something weird about this, like there's words, right? But the spies don't think in words. Spies think in pictures. And so here, look at, he said he sees that top secret. Would the black spy think that? I don't know. I mean, look at, there's word, like, but this is also, this, again, this feels like too much communicating for a spy to do. There we go. It's too much communicating for a spy to do. This, I think, is appropriate. That's a misdirect. They aren't actually communicating. They're doing reverse psychology, which is the best type of psychology. Mad's do-it-yourself political speech to grab voter attention. It's kind of funny because they've done this gag in so many different ways. They do it this way, which is just like a mess, right? And then they do it in the modern ones. What they'll do is they'll have it like this, and it'll be pictures. It'll be like hundreds of pictures with a little caption beneath it. Well, and that is an absolute mess too, because it's not fun to read. The peak, the pinnacle, the zenith, the acme. I got a thesaurus recently of this type of like do-it-yourself or Mad's fill in the blank thing is when they copied Mad Libs, and you would get like the little piece of paper, and then you would have the little areas that you could choose from. That was a high water mark for this type of thing from Mad. Love that Paul Coker. This is a weird looking Paul Coker character. Holy moly. Doesn't even look, I don't know that I would recognize that as a Paul Coker character. A Paul Coker character. Here we have the lighter side of, really, the best thing on this page is one of the marginals. Alfred for president, he knows how to spell potato. Wonder what that was all about. If I recall correctly, like that was kind of a tricky thing, right? Okay, I looked it up. He just misspelled potato. I don't know if there's anything more to the story. I always feel like whenever somebody gets like roasted, like a potato for something like that, there's always something behind it. There's always like a little bit of the story that gets left out because otherwise, you know, the story would be a little less entertaining if we knew every detail. The portentous pencil peddler's prophecy. Vote for Alfred more than once if necessary. Alfred E. Neuman for president. How much more damage could he possibly do? That feels like the other one. So anyway, it's like here, have a pencil. I don't know. I'm not interested in that. What I am interested in, is this. In 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. 500 years have now gone by since Chris, that cockamamie guy, determined that by sailing west he'd reach the east, or so he guessed. Let's now retrace his famous trip and recognize his seamanship. Ooh, a seamanship. Sounds messy. I can make jokes like that because I am a sailor. So here's Mad Salutes Columbus, highlights of his 1492 voyage. Bon voyage. I got to zoom in even closer on this. This is why I got the zoomy camera. Look at that. Hispaniola, Cuba. What's that? Who's getting chased? I mean, this is, you have Japan, Coney Island. This is so great. On every continent, there's just a man chasing a woman. This is so much fun. Imagine being clever enough to make a map fun, to make a map entertaining. I love this little thing with the scale that's all screwed up. And here you have, boom, there's another one, and there's another one. So here, we'll go on down to this. Alfred E. Neuman for president. How much more damage could he possibly do? We just read that one. Right? Yeah, just right on the previous page. Columbus graduate, what is this? Mad Salutes Columbus, highlights of his 1492 voyage. Columbus graduates last in his class from Joanna Seafarers Academy, is voted most likely to sail off the end of the earth. Convinced that world is round, Columbus arrives in Spain with bold scheme to sail west to Asia. When Queen Isabella refuses to finance the trip, Columbus has his buddies Vito and Nunzio lean on her. In return, they're promised 50% off of profits. 50% of profits from the voyage. Shouting to his crew, "Westward ho!" Columbus sets sail, winds up 3 days later in France. Because he found a hoe, right? Is that the joke? Columbus returns to Spain to buy compass. Oh, because he went east. A playful dolphin swim alongside Santa Maria. Within minutes, dolphins get whiff of unwashed sailors, head for safer waters. No, it's kind of interesting. I don't know if you know this. Well, look, this is actually perfect right here. Columbus arrives in the New World. War nearly erupts when native chief refuses to let sex-starved crewmen near topless, naive native women. Chief gives okay after Columbus promises him 50% of profits from the voyage. I think he keeps doing that again and again throughout this. Columbus is interesting because we used to celebrate in the United States, but now we don't. Now it's Indigenous Peoples Day. But the most interesting part of that is why we celebrated Columbus Day, and the whole thing that got Columbus Day started in the United States, because you might think, Columbus never landed in the United States. Why would we celebrate that in the United States? Like, he didn't North America. It was all the Caribbean, Central America, South America. Never North America. Or, North America as you think of it. It's because 11 Italians were lynched in the South. And there was like a mob that went after them. They were Italian immigrants. They were lynched. And the president at the time was like, okay, to calm the Italians down, we're going to celebrate an Italian, and we'll celebrate Columbus. And it just kept getting celebrated, basically, and later became a national holiday. But it is kind of interesting that, somebody who had nothing to do with the founding or discovery of our nation was celebrated. And then, anyway. I have other thoughts that I'm going to keep to myself. This is awesome. Here we have writer Mike Snyder, artist Sam Viviano. Sometimes people lie. Sometimes people tell the truth. But sometimes people lie and tell the truth on the same subject at different times. Like, for example, before and after an election. So the question we ought to be asking about these people is not the usual, why should we believe, but rather, when should we believe? This is like, it's hard to tell what they want me to do here. Let's zoom in on these. These are cool illustrations. When should we believe President Bush? When he says he wants to make the United States a kinder, gentler nation? Or when he sends in the troops every 6 months? When should we believe Michael Jackson? When he sings, "Don't matter if you're black or white"? Or when he shows up another shade lighter after his latest chemical skin peel? When should we believe Geraldo Rivera? When he defends himself to the public as being a serious journalist, or when he brings us an endless array of sexual misfits, deviant topics, and garden variety morons? I'm going to say this. Geraldo Rivera is the man. I don't think I need to defend that statement at all. He's the man. Sorry, guys. When should we believe Madonna? When she appears in public service ads for AIDS education and prevention? Or when she practically demonstrates how to get AIDS in music videos at her live stage act? Which is it? What is it, Madonna? Do you want me to get AIDS or do you not want me to get AIDS? Sick of this. I really liked this. This reminds me of things like the Heimlich maneuver poster that Dick DiBartolo wrote. But this is by Angelo Torres and Darren Johnson. Dance steps that we all know. The cockroach stomp. That's fun. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the bank maze mambo. I had to do that the other day. I do like this one because this is not one that I know. I don't feel like this is something that we all know. Here is the failed sobriety test sway. Thank God I don't know this one. The passing strangers gavotte. And then this one, I like this one. The wrong restroom backstop. I love this one. Oh, the untied shoelace. That one's pretty fun. I like the passing stranger and the wrong restroom one particularly. Here we have American Radiators. I thought this was so cool. And who better to do this than Al Jaffee? I mean, these are like, they're fit and they're prancing around. And he draws muscle people and prancers exceptionally well. So this one was so much fun to look through because it is absurd. Like the whole thing about this was absurd, especially how like brutal it was. If you ever like gone back and watched clips from this show, because those people that have to face off against like laser and backstop and frisbee get they get absolutely smoked. It's insane. There's buttocks and chest. All of their names are just parts of the body. Oh, there's Carl. Never mind. But yeah, this is just so fantastic, and it's like an artist like Al Jaffee. I don't know that any artist could have done this even half as well. Favorite touch right here. There's this crammed, absolutely full with chicken fat, and here we have property of Max Korn, Jim. Now this one, I mean, I'm running out of time. There's still so much to go through. This history's great come-ons. I mean, it's what's his face? George Woodbridge doing, I don't know, like how old was he during this? He was in an advanced age. He was like half retired. This looks like the just some of the best work he's ever done previous. Um, just super great illustrations. Here I have history's great come-on lines. You have like Oedipus. You remind me of my mother. Noah. You know this great couples only cruise? Paul Revere. Am I wrong, or have you been sending me signals all night? Here we have Columbus. You know. Oh, you know I own 3 boats. Marie Curie. Don't you feel a certain chemistry between us? But Pierre, what's his name? They were married. Of course they do. Clarence Thomas. Say, what's that on your Coke? I don't remember that. I know, is that Anita Brown or something? He was a naughty boy. I don't know the story though, unfortunately. Um, Here we have a mad look at Columbus. Oh, it takes an imbalanced mind to balance the budget. Alfred E. Neuman for president. You just got to read these. I can't go through these two. There's just so much stuff. We're already at 26 minutes. Here are CNN sitcoms based on news stories they've covered. Dot Girl, she's an ordinary witness in a nationally televised trial until a bizarre control room accident leaves the electronic dot used to hide her identity permanently etched on her face. Wackily complicating matters is Donald, the man who loves her, regardless of her questionable looks. Hey, how do you be, how do you be? How could you be a witness in a trial but keep your identity? Do they do that anymore? That's like when the news had some sense, gave people some sense of privacy. I don't know that they do that anymore. Here we have that darn Clarence. Here now, this is how I'll learn about Clarence Thomas. He's lewd, he's crude, but he's every working woman's worst nightmare. But it's all in good fun as Clarence, that constitutional cut-up, breaks all the taboos to get his girl. And your funny bone. Sexual harassment was never so hilarious. Biosphere. You guys remember that, Pauly Shore? Unorthodox. This is so great. Kevorkian just had like this perfect face for drawing. I actually look kind of Kevorkian. Am I sucking my cheese? That's spooky. Watch out. I get you. Meet 2 eccentric physicians who always operate on the cutting edge of medical ethics and the law. Dr. Jack Kevorkian is the inventor of the suicide machine and known affectionately as Dr. Death. His colleague, Dr. Cecil Jacobson, is a fertility specialist who secretly uses his own sperm to impregnate patients. When this duo of zany medicos get together, anything can happen, and usually does. Here we have Fads That Never Caught On by Paul Peter Porges. Hole in the Pyramid hairdos. I feel like that would be really difficult. Pizza Frisbee. I could get behind that. I could get in front of that. Drain pipe serenading. Boo boo, I love you. Killer bee mooning. And rollerblades log rolling. Now, I really want to sing this, but we just don't have time. Rick Tolka, Frank Jacobs. Unforgettable, that's what you are. But it's unelectable. And you have Bill Clinton, Ross Perot, and George Bush. George H.W. Bush? Herbert Walker? I don't know. And then a beautiful Tolka drawing of Alfred E. Neuman. But with that, that's all we got time for, guys. That has been Mad Magazine number 315. I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. Toodaloo.